So I was in the Democratic Party for 20 years before I left this past February after attending the Trump rally and seeing how much the media had lied to me. And here's the thing. When you're in the Democratic Party and you see the ins and outs of it all day, every day for months and years, one of the things you learn emphatically is that the Democratic Party is their own worst enemy. They learn nothing. They make the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. And I had been saying for one of the reasons that I started trying to break outside of this liberal echo chamber I had created for myself, even before I went to the Trump rally, is I was watching what was happening over a year ago now and thinking, oh my God, if the Democrats don't actually learn something from 2016, they are going to be doomed to repeat the same mistakes again, over and over and over again. And of course I was right. The Democrats learned nothing since 2016. They ran a horrible candidate. And I'm not going to talk about the precarious circumstances of his potential win, which we don't really know what happened yet either way. This is my position, YouTube. We don't know what happened either way. There are no official certifications. But if Joe Biden does make it into the Oval Office sometime next year, it will be by sheer luck. I am sorry. It will not be because it was earned. It will not be because the party understood how to run an effective campaign, because frankly they didn't. It will be by sheer absolute luck and good fortune. And I bring this up because Republicans, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you right now. Because I think that one of the bright spots in the sphere of politics is how the Republican Party has evolved under Donald Trump. It's one of the reasons I'm going to actually become a Republican, because I believe the party has evolved in a really effective way. They've become more of a big tent. They're a place where you can have different ideas. They're a place where people are allowed to think different things, where there's debate, where there's open-mindedness, where there's actually a lot of diversity. I mean, look at Donald Trump's results in 2020. He had the largest non-white vote of any Republican in the last 60 years. He doubled the LGBT vote from 2016. The Republican Party is a really interesting place to be right now. And one of the greatest fears I have, if Donald Trump doesn't pull the rabbit out of his hat and figure his way into the Oval Office for next year for a second term, one of the biggest fears that I have is that the Republican Party is going to go back to be the same party it always was. And that's one of the reasons I am joining the Republican Party, because I think that the only way to solidify what has happened in the party and this growth and this evolution, and to keep the neocons at bay that just want to bring it back to where it always was, the only way is to get everyone, every Trump supporter, everyone that appreciated this breath of fresh air, this new energy that Donald Trump brought to the right. You've got to join the party and you've got to get involved, because if Donald Trump is not the president next year, and again, I want to emphasize, we don't know either way. I'm waiting for the process to play out. But if he's not, the very worst thing that can happen is if the neocons and the rhinos take over the party again. That would be absolutely disastrous. Donald Trump did one thing really, really well in his first term. He effectively created a third party. Trump supporters are a third party. The traditional Republicans and the Democrats, they are the establishment. Trump supporters sit right in the middle. It may be called the Republican Party, but it's not the Republican Party that I grew up with. It's not the Republican Party that most of you grew up with. And we need to solidify that this nice little third party becomes a part of our narrative. Because if this just goes back to establishment on the right and establishment on the left, well, I can't think of anything more mind-numbing after seeing what has happened in the last 4 years. Guys, we cannot allow this to happen. And I have reason to believe that you're already starting to let it happen. I really do. And we're going to talk about that, because there was this poll that came out in Newsweek yesterday, which puts one of the frontrunners for the Republican nomination for president as Mitt flipping Romney. Mitt Romney? Really, Republicans? Really? That's one of your top choices for your Republican nominee for president in 2024? Really? You've learned nothing if that's who you're voting for. You have learned absolutely nothing. And so we're going to read this article and talk about that. But before we get into that, folks, I need your help. I do. Because YouTube has pretty much cordoned off my content to only show up for people who are already subscribed to this channel. And on top of that, YouTube is dumping every single night a couple hundred subscribers from my channel. Now, I am not the only channel this is happening to. I was actually watching Elijah Schaefer's channel, Slightly Offensive, yesterday. He was talking about seeing exactly the same thing on his channel where every single night, like clockwork, couple hundred people just wake up and they say, "Ooh, that channel sucks. I don't want to be subscribed to it anymore." And they drop off the channel. Every single day, I get messages from people saying, "I was unsubscribed from your channel." So in order to help my channel continue to grow, to really stick it to YouTube, to fight back against the shenanigans that they're pulling, I need you to subscribe. I do daily content around news, politics, culture, things I find interesting, and things hopefully you find interesting too. Chances are you're usually going to find at least, one thing I talk about interesting, if not a couple of different things. So if you want to help me out, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Just click the little red subscribe button down below. If you think you're subscribed, just do a quick double check for me, and that really helps me out. If you want bonus points, you can share the video out to your friends and family to try to obfuscate the YouTube shadow banning that's been going on for weeks. All right, let's dig into this article. Mike Pence, Mitt Romney, boo, lead poll for 2024 Republican presidential candidate, but only if Trump doesn't run. Which I actually think he would. I think if Trump can't figure out this situation, and I actually do think I've heard from a lot of different sources that would know that they really do have something. My big issue with what's going on right now is that Trump's campaign needs to start putting up or shutting up. This dragging it out, this teasing it, this saying, we're going to release the Kraken when they're not actually giving us anything to work with. I don't think that's good enough anymore. I think they need to start getting public perception on their side. I do believe they have something. Is it going to be enough? We don't really know. But I do think that if they can't figure it out for this time, I really do think Trump's going to run again in 2024. And if so, this would all be moot. But we need to consider this because the fact that Mitt Romney is a frontrunner for the 2024 nomination, and everyone seems to think that that's okay and an appropriate choice after 4 years of Donald Trump actually doing things and Mitt Romney protesting alongside Black Lives Matter. No, thank you. I don't want to go back to the establishment Republicans. I think that is one of the worst possible things that can happen. Vice President Mike Pence, Utah Senator Mitt Romney, and Fox News host Tucker Carlson are among the top hopefuls to wage a 2024 Republican Party presidential run, but only if President Donald Trump doesn't decide to run 4 years from now. I'm just going to skip down a little bit. If Trump runs in 2024, he is the clear GOP frontrunner, with Romney coming in second place as potential challengers to Biden 4 years from now. In what universe is this possible, Republicans? Who of you are voting for Mitt Romney after Donald Trump? Are you kidding? Why are you still in the Republican Party if you think that Mitt Romney is your guy? I really don't understand it at all. Romney trails Pence in a Legger to 360 poll with 22%, and trailing further down the list are Ted Cruz, Nikki Haley, and John Kasich. So you're telling me that you guys honestly think that Mitt Romney is a better choice than Ted Cruz? And I'm not the biggest Ted Cruz fan in the world, but I have to hand it to him. He's been giving the tech giants a lot of hell in the past couple testimonies in front of Congress, and that's something I can respect. I don't agree with Ted Cruz on a lot of things, but if he's going to fight against big tech, fine. I'd be completely in favor of it. Mitt Romney would do a grand total of not a single GD thing. Nothing. He brings nothing to the table. And I don't know. I mean, is it just name recognition? Is that the only reason that he's in this poll? Because I really can't think of another viable reason for it. Several of the potential candidates have run unsuccessfully in the past, including Romney, who lost a 2012 presidential election to Barack Obama. Cruz, Kasich, and Rubio all ran against Trump in the 2016 primaries. 4 years ago, Trump was championed as an outsider who is a successful New York businessman and not a Washington lawmaker. The only non-political candidate who appears in the poll is Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who 5% of respondents say they would like to see run in 2024. Now, I think Tucker Carlson could be an interesting candidate, but does Tucker Carlson actually want to be president? I mean, I don't get the impression really that he does. And I mean, not everyone wants to be president, guys. I would, if Tucker Carlson's got a sweet gig. He's making a ton of money. He's got like one of the highest rated, well, it was the highest rated until he lost a whole bunch of viewers who refused to watch Fox News anymore. So who knows how that's going to turn out. But I don't see Tucker Carlson running for president. I just don't. It doesn't seem like his jam. The only other 2024 presidential candidates options to surface in the poll were Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Florida Senator Rick Scott, and former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum. Now, I want to say this about Mike Pompeo. I have heard from sources that if Trump were to have a second term, Mike Pompeo wouldn't be the Secretary of State anymore. And I've heard some really, frankly, disturbing things about Mike Pompeo being a homophobe and Trump actually having to give him a stern talking to in relationship to some things that Mike Pompeo was saying about Rick Grinnell. Now, again, this is all rumors. This is just stuff I've heard. But I'm not on the Mike Pompeo train. I'm not on that at all. I don't think that's good. I think that that's, frankly, just like more of the establishment same. As the same with all these guys. I mean, I think like the Republicans, if they're going to continue this, they need to find candidates that are more outsider like Trump, that are more tell it like it is, that are more authentic, that are people that know how to get things done. And I don't believe that any of these candidates fit that particular bill. But all of the above options are only viable if Trump decides not to run again in 2024. With Trump factored into the poll, he earns 25% of support from respondents. So we'll see, I guess. But again, guys, I'm really blown away that Mitt Romney is in serious contention here. And I know this is early. This means nothing in the grand scheme of things. I mean, this is 4 years away. There's a lot that's going to happen. Who even knows? But the fact that people see Mitt Romney as like someone that they would vote for after 4 years of Donald Trump, dude. Mitt Romney supports Black Lives Matter, the organization. That's really all I need to know about him. And there's other stuff I know about him too that I really am not a fan of. So Republicans, have you learned anything in the past 4 years? Have you learned anything? Because if you have, you ain't picking Mitt Romney as your frontrunner for 2024. All right, guys, that's all I've got for this video. Now, if you enjoyed this video and maybe you were a little annoyed by some of the ads that might have appeared on it, I just want to let you know that you can always get ad-free videos on my Locals community. Locals is an awesome social media site. It's like social media for adults. It's so much nicer. There are no trolls in it because you can join Locals for free. You can get all my videos ad-free for free just by joining my Locals. The link is literally right underneath me, right there. But if you want to participate in discussions, if you want to participate in my book club, or we're going to start a debate club pretty soon, or do other things within the community, then you do have to pay just a small monthly fee. It's $5 a month. So not even as much as you would pay for a single cup of coffee at Starbucks. And what that little barrier does is it keeps the trolls out. Because generally speaking, people don't want to pay money just to be a troll and to be a nuisance and to disrupt the community. So come join my Locals. Just give it a check out. You're going to see it's just so nice and quiet. And it's everything I want in a social media site. And you're going to be able to get all my videos ad-free to boot. So join me at kb.locals.com. Information is down below. That's all I've got for right now. I'll see you soon.